Howdy champs, my name is Mohit, and people, today I'm going to show you how to use the scrollTop method in jQuery very effectively. In fact, before anything else, let's take up a publish preview straight away. Alright, so let's preview it up in Google Chrome. Shortcut key F12. Alright, give me a sec. Beg your pardon. Okay, people, this is the web page, and I'm right at the top of the web page at the moment. This web page is nothing but a pile of pictures stacked on top of each other. Just duplicate pictures stacked on top of each other. The only purpose was to give the web page some length, some height, and that was the only reason. I could have used some filler text too, but instead of using some filler text, I've actually used this Dreamweaver icon that I've actually using the display property, which has been set to block. They have been piled or stacked on top of each other. Now notice very carefully, I'm at the top at the moment. As I scroll, either using my scroll wheel or by using this out here like so, the scroll bar or the scroll wheel on my mouse, whichever way I do it, you see after it travels some distance, the scroll bar that is, and to be exact 100 pixels, this button actually appears. Okay, right, and see, when I go back to the top of the page, this button out here disappears again. When I scroll down beyond 100 px, this reappears. Okay, and notice what happens when I click on this button. You see the page scrolls back up right to the top, right to the roof, but it travels smoothly. It doesn't travel abruptly like it happens in named anchors in Dreamweaver. Okay, so let me show you the preview once again. Let me go right to the rock bottom of this web page, and then you see, as I click, not only does the web page reach the roof, this button that I click actually disappears. So right there you go, it has actually disappeared and will show up again only when I scroll down by more than 100 pixels. Alright, so let's see how this was actually done from scratch. Okay, let me close this file up. Let me get my local site folder in front of you. Okay, now notice very carefully, people, I have an images folder, and I need this image and this image for my example. This was the index.html file that you just saw moments ago. We have a jQuery minified version 1.9.1, the latest jQuery version at the time of making this tutorial. You can easily grab it from jQuery.com, or alternatively, I'll be giving it away to you as a free download from my website, along with two more relevant files: the scrollTop CSS cascading style sheet, external style sheet file, and a scrollTop JavaScript file. So I'll be bundling all these files, all the relevant required files for you, and you can actually grab it as a free download once again from my website, http://qualitylessons.net. It'll be that simple. Okay, so people, I promised you that we'll go through the whole routine from scratch. We'll open up a fresh new file, we'll learn how to do it, and then we'll go through these two files rather, scrollTop cascading style sheet file and scrollTop JavaScript file, and we'll see exactly what is inside it, which is actually triggering off this kind of a behavior. Cool. So let's begin with a new HTML file. Layout none, doc type HTML5, let's say create. Very cool. Okay, first things first, what you need to do is in the body of the document, I'll drop in an anchor tag, okay, which will have an href attribute that I'll set to a hash. I don't have any link ready. I just need to set it to a hash sign. Okay, next I need to give it a class as well, and the name of the class will be scroll up. Okay, why did I actually give this class name will become clear very soon. Alright, and then what I need to do is I just need to just put any word will do actually. I'll just say smooth scrolling to top. Right, let me close the anchor tag up now. Excuse me. Notice as I click out here in the body of out here in the design area, you can actually see this anchor tag which has actually turned into a link. Right, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this bit, I'm gonna just copy it, I'm gonna drop it out here. Smooth scrolling to the top, actually it should be to the top. Let's save it up. Let's save it under a different name. Let's say about us.html. Well, any name could have done. Just an example. Alright, so that's sorted. Next, what I'll do is just after the title tag, I'm going to insert the link tag, people. Link it to an external style sheet, and either I can hand code it or else I can just click on this icon which says attach style sheet. I'm in the classic view, people, by the way, and then I'll browse and link it to scrollTop external CSS file. I told you that this CSS file will be available as a free download from my website along with other necessary assets. http://qualitylessons.net/downloads1. Okay, so make sure that you select the option link and yep, say okay. Alrighty. Okay, notice what happened. Let me go to the live view. Notice the link, the link that you could see up out here has actually disappeared. How and why does attaching the CSS external CSS file make that link disappear? We'll look at into that a little later. Okay, for the moment, that's all you need to know, that you need to attach the external CSS file. Next, people, what you need to do is you need to attach two external JS files, and this is how you'll do it. You'll use the script tag. So we'll have the opening script tag going out here, the type attribute, and the type should be text JavaScript, and through the source src we'll browse to the file that we need. Make sure that the topmost file should be jQuery 1.9.1 minified, not scrollTop.js. That's important. Okay, and let's close the script tag up as well. Okay, cool. Next, people, let me have one more script tag out here, and this will just duplicate the type attribute here as well. So press down 5 times, select type is equal to text JavaScript, src pointing to the external file, JS file, which is scrollTop.js. Again, this jQuery 1.9.1 minified scroll to top CSS file and scrollTop CSS file and scrollTop JS files will be all bundled up together as a free download for you. Okay, so I'm pointing to scrollTop.js, and as I told you earlier, we'll peep into these files, we'll look inside these files as to why this the behavior actually happened the way it actually happened, but that'll be a little later. Okay, so scroll to top.js and let's close the script tag about here as well. Okay, cool. Now you see, let's save it up first. You see all that is there inside the body of the document at the moment. In fact, let me just select the opening and the closing body tags out here. Press the Alt key plus press this symbol. That will collapse everything outside the body tags. We all know that whatever is inside the body tag is actually what appears on the web page, not what is actually outside, although that influences what is inside. Cool. Now this web page actually does not have any content. We need to bring in some content so that the web page could have some height. Only then will we be able to see that scrolling up to the top behavior. So let's insert an image and let's duplicate that image just to give this web page some height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say insert image, and inside the images folder I'll be using this image. I'll be skipping the alternate text, not a good habit though, just for this example. And that's the image that I would want to replicate. So let me just copy this bit, Control C, and let's paste this file several times. Okay, let's copy this bit and paste it here and here and here. Okay, so we have the Dreamweaver icon going from top to the bottom, or the Dreamweaver image going from top to the bottom. Although image is img is an inline tag, why does it actually appear top bottom? That is because of the CSS, the way the CSS was written. And as I promised you earlier, we're going to have a look at the CSS file. But before that, let's have a look. Let's take up a look now in Google Chrome after saving the changes. Okay, now you see I'm right at the top of the page. I'm gonna scroll now. Okay, the moment I scrolled beyond 100px, this button appeared out here at 50% opacity, and as I scroll back up right to the top, the button disappears. It appears after I scroll more than 100px, and after actually scroll down quite a bit, and if I now click on this button, it's gonna take me right to the top of the page, and the button actually disappears. Right, so this going right to the top of the page is a functionality really needed. We all know that when the page is pretty lengthy, it's it has a good enough height, it's pretty tall, you actually need that functionality. We all hate to scroll all the time, right? So we see that things are actually functional just the way we actually want them. But then what's triggering this kind of a behavior is something that will become clear once we know what's inside the CSS file and what is inside the JS file. So let's, as promised, have a look inside the CSS and the JS files. Cool. Okay, let's first examine the scrollTop.css file. Now people have a look out here. I've set the image tag and given the property of display, setting it to block. Now by default the image tag is an inline element, which means that images will duplicate themselves or will appear next to each other, adjacent to each other, not above and below each other, the way they are appearing out here. So just instead of using a filler text, some lorem ipsum, I've actually used an image, and that is the reason I had to set the display to block. But on your website you may need to remove this. I'm sure you'll need to remove this. This is just for this example. So it'll be better if you actually modify this file. Come out here and remove this completely. Excuse me. Okay, what else have I done? I've created a class scrollUp. Now if you remember, the first element that was inside the body of the index.html file, or rather was inside the about.html file. This was the anchor tag with the href attribute set to hash sign and the class set to scroll up, and had these two few words out here: smooth scrolling to the top. Right, I'll save all. Now just keep this in mind as I explain the CSS file to you. That had a class scroll up. This class scroll up is responsible for the width 40 pixels, height 40 pixels. Now the button that actually appears that you click that takes you right to the top had a width and height of 40 px, if you remember. Also had a background image, which is this image. We have an icon top.jpg image inside the images folder, and this class scroll up has this image as the background. People, this is the images folder, and this was the scrollTop button or the scrollTop JPG image. So the moment I say that the anchor tag should have the class scroll up, it automatically acquires 40 px of height, 40 px of width, and acquires that button that you click every time to reach to the top. That is how you see that button. That is because of the class being attached to the anchor tag. Okay, let's get back to the CSS file. I've also made sure that the opacity of that button should be set to 50%, transparency at 50%. I've set the position property to a fixed, that is responsible for that button always appearing from the right edge by 100 px displaced. You know, the placement of that button is always displaced by 100 px from the right and 50 px from the bottom. Since I've set the position property to a fixed, and yep, that is the reason. I've also made sure that the display upfront is none. That'll hide the button that reappears again when you scroll, and why that happens will become very clear once we discuss the JS file. I've also made sure that the text indent is set to -9999 px. That is actually throwing the text outside into the orbit, away, just throwing it away. It will not appear on the web page at all. That is the reason. Give me a sec. Okay, this was the reason this text never appears on the web page. Smooth scrolling to the top. That is because the class scroll up. Text indent -9999, just throwing it out into the orbit for a big long 6. Alright, a Chris Gale 6. I think the name is Chris Gale. Okay, never mind. Let's go back to scrolltop.css. Okay, the button doesn't appear because of the display property being set to none. The text has been thrown out into the orbit, as well as I've set the background to the image, the button image that you just saw. Alright, so that is all that is there inside the CSS file. Now everything else is triggered by the scroll to top JS file. Let's have a look inside the JS file. Okay, this JavaScript document says when the document is ready, do this. What's this? Let's see. Target window, and when somebody scrolls the window either through the scroll wheel or otherwise through the scroll bar, an anonymous function should be fired, and this checks this. This means the window. It's actually referencing the window. Dot scroll top is greater than 100. 100 means 100 pixels. So scroll top is a method through which you can either get or set the position of an element. In our case, it's actually window. So we're checking the window position. So if you have scrolled beyond 100 px, if you actually scrolled beyond 100 px, we would want any element with the class scroll up to fade in. That is the reason the button that you click, which had been set to a display of none, was actually hidden up front, fades in, else faded out. So That is the reason why that button fades in and fades out from time to time. Okay. Through the JavaScript file, we also say that when somebody clicks on any element that has the class scroll up, we would want the HTML or the body to animate. So use the animate property and scroll to the top. Scroll top 0 means animate the, take the whole web page right to the top. Scroll top 0 means scroll back right to the top through the animate property, but do so in 600 milliseconds. So this figure 600, this number 600, you can adjust to make the page go up faster or slower. And why did I actually write return false? You see, when you click on a link, it snaps instantly, jerkily to the top. That is the default behavior. But when you use the return false statement, you are actually nullifying the default behavior, allowing the animate property to work the way it should, smoothly. So unless if you don't use the return top, and I actually tested it, it just snaps to the top, goes back down, and then animates, and that's a mess, a real mess. All right, so that is why we have to have that return false statement out there in your JavaScript document. And that's all that is there to this JS file, right? So we've used the scrollTop method and the animate property to achieve this, along with the CSS file. People, a word of caution once again. Instead of using some text filler, I've used the image and I've set the property to block in my CSS file. I think you'll need to alter this. You'll need to probably remove this completely, because obviously you'll not be using any image as a filler text. You'll have your own text, your own images, your own stuff, your own elements. All right. So people, I think I can wind the tutorial out here. The explanation should have been useful to you, and let's take up a preview once again before I finish this tutorial off. So I'm at the top, right at the top, right at the roof. Let me slide down, let me scroll down. This button actually appears. Now this has been set to an opacity of 0.5. So again, this is your own decision to set it to 0.3, 0.7, or not have opacity set at all. That's entirely up to you. But you see what happens, this button may overlap some website content, and if it is actually transparent, then it's see-through. That is the reason now why I wish to give it some opacity. Okay, so let me click it, and you see it scrolls up smoothly to the top. So people, I hope you like this tutorial, and I also hope that you'll keep joining me for more and more tutorials in future too. You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.